Today you will be building the world's easiest slider / carousel in just a few minutes. It has an autoplay functionality. You can also click the buttons to make it scroll. It's fully responsive, and you can also use your mouse to drag it, and you can also do it with your fingers if you are on the phone. So with that, let's jump right on to making this carousel. So first off, we have our index.html, which is just an empty HTML5 layout, and we have a style.css with some basic settings. So how we're going to start off is by going to glidejs.com. This is what we'll be using for our glider, and keep in mind the way we install it will be requiring Node.js because that's the simplest install. After all, if you are working in web development, sooner or later you are going to need to download Node.js. So with that, let's jump to GlideJS. In GlideJS, we click the Let's Get Started, and here we are going to jump right to Setup. Now you can see the first thing that is going to pop up is the npm install, so we are just going to copy this, open a new terminal, and paste it here. After it's finished downloading, we can close our terminal. And now coming down, we have different modes of installing this, but in the configuration tab, there is these styles that we need to import. So we're going to come here, and after our style.css, we'll import these. There is an optional style sheet, and there is the required core style sheet. We won't be going into the optional style sheet, but just in case, we drop it here. There's no harm in it. Coming down, this is the structure that we're going to be using, and this is what's needed. We'll copy this, and this is what's going to come into our body. Then going forwards, we'll be using these buttons, but we'll copy this one right here. As you can see, we already have the div class glide and the glide track. That is all we have in here. We'll copy this part of the arrows, and under this div, which contains the glide track, we are going to paste it here. You can also add bullets, but we're not going to for this video. You can always just come back or even look at it as an exercise to add bullets to yourself. And after this, the last thing that we need is to import this script that is given by GlideJS, and also the other tag. Copy these, and at the end, before our body ends, we simply paste these. So now, if we come back to our site, you can see there is a next and a previous button, but since the background is already black, so you won't see the numbers, and this is unstyled. This is not functional. So to solve it, we have some pictures that we'll be using, and the way we are going to do it is by deleting these first two list elements, and in each list element we are going to be having an image. Their source is going to be custom image you can grab. For me, I have them labeled from 1 to 5, and we are going to just copy this for each and every list element. So if we have a look at our glider now, it's working, yet the images are not yet styled, and they need to be centered as well. So first off, let's jump to our style.css, do the styling, and then we'll have a look at what GlideJS offers in terms of customizability and how we can really make a unique slider. First of all, the .glide class, this is what was given to us in GlideJS. We are going to set its height to 100 viewport height units. Then simply say display flex, justify content to the center, and align items to the center. This way we are simply just centering our glide. Then we need the images to be styled. So we're going to say each image should take up all the space that is given, that's 100%, and the height for this example will be 50 viewport height units. There you can see, much better. This is our glide already working, basically. But let's add some media queries. It will be just a minute for our responsibility, and then we are all done with our CSS. So below 500 pixels, we are simply going to style the image to have a height of 35 viewport height units. And let's simply copy this, and for 400 pixels, it's 25. That's it. We are done with CSS, okay? Now back here. This is a script tag that we've copied. Also with the linked style sheets, these are nothing we have to worry about. However, this script tag, you could also put it into a JavaScript file, but we don't need that. In this example, in GlideJS, if you come to options, you can see that there are options for how you want your glide to be working. So this is creating a new glide, and then we are mounting it, we are initializing this slider or the glider. But before that, we can simply give an object here, and this object is going to have options on and settings for our glider. So for example, the type should be this time a carousel, or you could say a slider. The difference between the two, by default it's a carousel, is that the carousel is a never-ending infinite, while the slider can end. And if I show you just here, it ends and then it goes back to the start. Or if I go left, right from here, it goes to the right. So it's not infinite. That's the point. That's why we are going to be using a carousel now, but you can play around with the slider if that's something you desire. First of all, by default, we are going to say the per view. This is going to say how much slide images you want to have per view. It's all that simple. I want 3. And this way, I will have 3 images right here. You can see. Now continuing on, we can also set a value called autoplay. And this takes in a millisecond parameter. You can say at which intervals should the autoplay happen. I say every 4 seconds slide the carousel 1 slider. To wrap it all up, there is a breakpoints parameter that takes in an object, and in this object you give pixel units. So for example, 1300 pixels, and then you can configure all those settings that we did up here. So for example, per view, I only want 2 images under 1300 units, and under 1000 units I want per view of only 1. There are other things you can configure here. If you come to the options section, you can configure how the touch is made. You can configure a peak, which means that there is going to be a little section that's visible of each slide image. You can also give a gap between them. There are all these types of settings where you can go to the options section, and each of them has an example here where you can also see the example code if you want to. So with that, our slider is complete. It's fully responsive. You can see if I press F12 and then start dragging, then it gets resized, and the per view is working just as well. There are 2 images here. After that, there are 3. So if you found value in this video and would like to see more, please consider giving a like, maybe subscribe. Other than that, I hope to see you in the next one.